Steven has a topic.
Wait. See, now you're putting all the pressure on me. Anthology comics.
Yes.
They're coming back. They're kind of making a bit of a resurgence.
Okay.
And I've been following a couple of them.
Now explain to the uninitiated what an anthology
What an
comic-
anthology comic is. I'm very glad you asked that. So these tend to be, they're not continuous narratives. It'll be like, well, for example, the great EC comics, the
Creep Show.
1950s.
Yeah.
Tales from the Crypt,
Some anthology TV shows are that like
Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone is the what's the sci-fi version of that?
Outer Limits.
Outer Limits. Yep. So those
Night
those are,
Gallery,
So those are all anthologies.
These are anthology
Then
shows.
Fargo was an anthology television show. American Horror is an anthology.
Yes, they are actually. Yeah,
Each season is a separate.
spread out. It's its own.
Each season its own thing. Completely different story.
So
Same universe.
That's
different
exactly right. So the idea being that you're not locked into an ongoing narrative, that you have to then battle with continuity and commitment and so on and so forth. I mean, ask any poor bugger who endured Lost. They'll tell you that narrative television
I loved it.
can have its
ups and downs.
Well, exactly. I think they were exploring the limits of what people would be willing to do.
Yeah, but they also forgot a significant and highly important factor in any mass media entertainment.
You need an end.
You need to know what your audience. You need to know your audience.
Oh, see, I was into it. I was sucked in. Like I would like listen to the podcast.
Yeah,
every week.
but it
I
would
was super into
appear
it.
that you're the needs of the one. The needs of the many, on the other hand, were like, what the heck is that? What are they doing? Anyway.
Yeah.
So I grabbed a couple of things off the shelves that I'm currently following, with one exception, because Oni Comics, Oni. O-N-I?
Yeah, Oni.
Oni? Okay.
Oni Press?
They've got the EC license. So for the last couple of years, they have brought back the format for those great William Gaines horror comics. And
Seduction of the Innocent.
Seduction of the Innocent. Exactly. If you know your Professor Frederick Wortham, you know your history. This is significant American history and comic book history. That was the comic series that they got rid of effectively.
That they created the comics code to self-regulate.
Exactly, and depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, question. Are they, with the EC, is it a mixture of original material, reprints? Is it
It's all original.
If you wanted a reprint, okay, do they have options to do? Okay.
Yes, that's right. Now, I think...
Probably some trade.
I know Dark Horse is doing reprints of the Warren eerie and creepy magazines.
Yes.
I know there have been reprints of the Gaines EC stuff.
I just remember they do it because I get a mixture of, I enjoy the original printing.
Yeah.
But sometimes the restored colors and things do bring it a little. I'm a mixture of like the nostalgia, but I also kind of like the pop when I do. I'm more of a science fiction one. The horror ones never. It scared me. I was a kid. I didn't know, but the sci-fi ones, I could take a bug alien better than I could. A swamp monster.
Yeah,
creepy, but that. Go on. I don't want.
No.
I was curious. I didn't know if these were reprints or
no. That it's all brand new stuff. Now, what Oni are doing is, because thematically they're different. They do one that's just kind of purely a horror book, and that is Epitaphs of the Abyss, and then they do one that's more like science fiction horror leanings, and that's Cruel Universe. That's a copy of one right there with that great I can't remember his name, Greg Smallwood cover, and they did one, I think it was called Cruel Kingdom, which was stories set in like the Middle Ages.
Okay.
But again, they always have kind of a sinister horror beat to it. very graphic, very disgusting, very gory, in that great EC tradition. I'm hoping that they will, at some point, because they seem to be doing these in like 6-issue and 12-issue runs.
Okay.
And then they'll pull it out, and then they'll bring in a new title, and then they'll pull that out, maybe bring one of the old ones back in. So they're rotating them, which I think is a good idea. I'm hoping that they'll do some crime ones, because EC did a lot of crime comics, and some really sort of, ghastly murders. The famous, I think it's a Johnny Craig cover with the guy, and he's holding his wife's head on the cover, and I believe they referenced that in those Wortham trials. But anyway, just to say that, if you're a fan of the medium of comics, that kind of storytelling, this is pretty good stuff, because you could jump into any issue.
Yeah.
You don't need to do anything. There's no ongoing stuff. And you just jump in, and I'm seeing a lot of, Christopher Cantwell, Stephanie Phillips, she just took over writing Daredevil. Chris Condon, Brian Azzarello's done some. It's good stuff.
So do the same, like, let's say this is a 6-issue run.
Yeah.
Obviously, different story, different writer. Do the same team of people write throughout the entire run?
It
of the
does rotate.
It just rotates.
It rotates.
So Stephanie may only write one story
She
in
might.
the 6 issues.
That's right.
Or she might write 4.
Exactly.
Okay. So
Yeah.
just didn't know if there was.
So you don't know what you're getting. And what I like to do with these is, when it comes to previews, I won't read anything about it. I don't want to know, because they'll give little, in this month's issue, Adam and Eve have an interesting experience with a snake, whatever it is. Okay. It's,
I wonder what happened.
I wonder what happened. It's midnight. It's raining. There's a motel. What could possibly go wrong?
What happens with the apple is that it becomes one of those McDonald's apple pies that are always 5,000 degrees no matter when you got it. They're so good, but that was the horror.
That's true. Well,
hot.
I miss the old ones that were like
Yes.
fried, where they kind of scratch up the roof of your mouth.
Yeah, you can't eat. You know who has those? Is Chicken Express.
They do.
Really?
They
Yeah,
do. Oh,
they the cherry one.
oh, that'll
The
make
cherry
you
one's
happy.
pretty good.
Oh, I will have to.
Yeah, Chicken Express.
Give that a go.
Because as you're going down this rabbit hole, I've got some ideas I want to ask you after you're done.
Okay.
Because
no worries.
I'm starting to put something together.
So it's fun. And I was also going to reference this one, which is a new concept. It's a new book. Boom Studios puts this out. Hello Darkness, which I actually think is.
Wild prayer.
I know
We all thought
we
it
all
at the
thought
same
that. They've got this character. I know she's got a name. I don't remember what it is.
Zatanna.
though. No.
Oh, just looks like her.
And she appears
Harley
on all the
Quinn.
cup. No.
Is she the
She appears. She's kind of like the crypt keeper of
the
Hello
series,
Darkness. And every
Elvira,
cover,
right.
she's got like I mean, this is a variant, but she's always doing something diabolical with a smile on her face and her mascara is running. So this is another one. Again, it's anthology stuff, different art styles, different writing styles. One thing that I think is quite funny, and I'm not going to hold this up to the camera, is that how Playboy magazine back in the day, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was a cartoonist, and they would do like these little one-panel gag. They were naughty. I mean, they were provocative. But
in either one, they also drew from Mad Magazine.
might have. They've got this guy to do them in Hello Darkness,
I
but
never read Playboy magazine.
he lies.
We read it for the articles.
That's right. Exactly.
Clearly, you remember the cartoons.
Actually, never mind. That's another show. But this guy, he's doing that here, but with like a horror bent on it. And some of them kind of, you got to give it a second. Like, what the? Okay. But he's got his own vibe. It's cool stuff. Anyway. And of course, you can't speak about
Twilight
anthologies without speaking about the Twilight
Great
Zone.
ones.
Yeah.
And this is pretty cool stuff because again, every issue it's its own story. It's one
That one
story,
looks pretty good.
and they're doing the black and white thing, and it's great. And if you like, as I do, I'm a great admirer of Rod Serling and the Twilight Zone because it's a fascinating challenge that you've got, 22, 23 minutes, and you have a beginning, middle, and end, and it's got to hit those beats. That's a tough writing gig.
That intro is so good every
And
time.
Rod Serling was so good. He could just get under your skin, sometimes, literally, and nail these amazing endings that just, again, Burgess Meredith, he's sitting on the steps of the library. He's got all the time in the world. Oops. And the glasses shatter. And he's the only one left alive. And what's he going to do now? It's so good. Anyway.
Have you ever been on the Twilight Zone ride?
No.
You know about this thing?
I know what
the
I know
Tower
what
of
it is.
Terror
Yeah.
at Disney.
Yeah.
So good. It's so good. They do a whole Twilight Zone episode that you're in. So it's a great.
Sorry, I see this outfit and I still think of the, from Back to the Future.
Yes.
Science, because once again,
That's exactly this plugging in from the planet Vulcan.
Yeah.
But yeah, great stuff.
Across
And,
those streams, it was not good. It was Darth Vader.
Yeah.
On Planet Vulcan.
I know.
That's not okay.
And he's on the cover of the book that George McFly. I forget what it's called.
Science.
Love Bin Time or something like that. And he's in that yellow hazmat suit. It's great stuff. Anthology comics, like I said, not everyone's bag. I get that. But in England, there is quite a history for these sorts of comics, anthology comics. And there were horror comics, and there were war comics, and romance comics. Romance horror comics for girls.
Oh, wow.
Misty in the 1970s, which Rebellion is the publisher. They did a Misty special like a year and a half ago, and they invited Gail Simone to write all the stories. And it was a lot of fun. Because it's such an odd thing.
It's what somebody needs to do.
It's a horror comic for girls.
Somebody needs to do a romantasy. That's a whole thing now.
Sure.
The romantasies. Because my girls are all reading whatever the dragon book is. There's a fantasy book.
Oh, I know what you're
talking about.
Yeah. Or
I don't know what they're talking about. I just discovered Dungeon Crawler Carl. So I'm probably behind that.
This book, so I got it because it was like, the Fourth Wing. That's what it is.
Okay.
Fourth Wing.
I was thinking
Fourth Wing. So my daughter was reading it. Well, I bought it at one point a long time ago because it's about dragons and dragon riders. I love dragon rider stories. They're cool.
Right.
So I'm thinking this is going to be new Aragon. And it was at like Barnes and Noble or something on like a end cap with like all the, all the
bells and whistles.
Merchandising, the whole, I was like, oh man, a mainstream dragon book. I've got to get this thing. So I did. Turns out super dirty.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Super dirty. And women read books that are not okay. I would not be allowed to read this book if I just showed up with this in my house. My wife would be like, what are you reading? That's so dirty. But no, I didn't know what women's romance novels were like until I accidentally read the romantasy thing. And I was like, whoa, that's not okay. I would get in trouble for this if my wife knew I read it. And then I see my children, my kids, my girls. Now my youngest is 20, but she's sitting by the pool, laying out, reading her. And I was like, I know what that is. That's not okay. That book's not okay. She goes, I'm an adult. I'm like, fine, do what you want to do.
The more you say no, the more they will want to.
Yeah, if you really wanted her to stop reading, you should have sat down and go, hey man, on page 69, did you see this? Oh my God, that was great.
Take a look at that. I want to start enjoying the things that you enjoy.
Your grandparents tried something like this back in the 60s, and
we don't spend enough time together.
Yeah, they'll throw that book down and run.
It made me I was like, come on, why are they talking about this in this book? Like,
I think you just answered your own question.
There's not enough magic or like stuff. Not enough explosions. What's happening here? I don't care about this person's feelings.
The book wasn't for you. The book wasn't for Jason.
I know.
You weren't the target audience.
So here's the thing. That is marketing capturing the wrong person's attention. That's what it did.
You just
No, that's not marketing capturing the wrong person's attention.
It captured my attention.
Yes, but
I did buy it.
You were looking for this. You in your mind because you know it's popular with your kids.
Well, no, I thought it was cool Dragon Rider.
Oh, you
book.
didn't know anything about it.
I didn't know anything about it. I'm at Barnes and Noble, and I see like all this marketing.
That's almost a
push.
misbranding fail.
Yeah, all this massive marketing push against this fantasy book, and I'm like, well, this must be a thing.
Did you read the?
Yeah, but it's all about like it sounds like Harry Potter with dragons. That's what it sounds like.
Let me ask a couple of qualifying questions. So when you walked into Barnes and Noble and you saw this display, what other section of books was it closest to? Was it fiction, science fiction?
It was that front
fantasy?
section with all the bestseller stuff.
Okay,
it was right there.
Because I was like, if it's over there, kind of in the back with the romance novels,
Right?
Then that was just a dump bin that was there, and you didn't look around the corner. Now, if it's up front, where it's like, hey, great new thing, you don't know what it is, but you know, if I'm standing in the middle of the underwear department at Walmart, and I'm upset that I see lacy underwear. Well, I was standing in the underwear department.
Yeah,
So
this was the bestseller.
I don't know. I mean, it was on the table, these books, and it was sharing a table with these new collections of Robert Mapplethorpe photography, and yeah, it's the strangest thing.
Well, there should be romantasy comics because apparently all the girls are into reading this. Like the ladies I work with, they were talking about it in their book club, and I'm like, how? I said, I know what that is. And they started talking about it. I know. And they...
And when you
do you say it like that when you do? Because...
No, I don't do that.
I know what that is.
No, I did it to my kids. I was like, I know what that book is.
And the kids wait for that. They love that. It's like, we're embarrassing dad. And so it's, you know, Allie and I, we enjoy Game of Thrones and we enjoy The Boys.
Right.
But there are times when it's like, okay, we have to stop because we both know what's coming. So who wants to watch? And the other one leave the room because there's something about watching with your granddaughter.
Yeah.
Okay. There's sometimes it's caught us off guard. We went, oh, we didn't know that one. But you know, now we go back and rewatch it. We're like, oh yeah. Okay,
well, Game of Thrones, it's actually problematic because all the naked times are the times you actually need to listen. Because any of the exposition they needed to do, they did with naked people in the room so people would pay attention.
That's true.
No.
But let's get back to
let's get back to right along.
Because I know where you were going.
Yeah, so I'm going in a particular direction.
Because you're going over to England, Britain.
Yes.
Oh, we're getting to 2000 AD.
There we are getting to 2000 AD because so I believe, is it next year? I think it's next year is the 50th anniversary of 2000 AD Weekly. Okay, so that's a pretty decent milestone. It has published weekly consecutively. As far as I know, there's been no lulls. There's been a couple of occasions where it's merged with another comic book. I think it was 2000 AD and Star-Lord for a while. There was 2000 AD and Tornado for a while. But as it goes, there you are. Now, a little bit of a history lesson here for those of you on this side of the pond who may or may not be aware of this. So 2000 AD, it is an anthology science fiction comic. Each issue will hold probably about 5 stories, I think. Back in the day, they're not called issues, by the way, they're called progs.
Why are they progs? What's
program? So each story could be like 3 or maybe 4 pages, and that's it. And it would be a serialized story that could take weeks to conclude. I think one of the longest, which was a Judge Dredd story, The Judge Child, I believe that clocks in close to like 30 episodes. That's 30 weeks. That's you know.
And wasn't there the Cursed Earth?
Cursed Earth was a multi-part.
And Brian Boland did part of that.
Yes, he did.
But someone else started it, and he came in and kind of took the art chores because it was really...
That's right. Mick McMahon and Brian Boland, and they have very different art styles. Very different art styles. But the crazy thing is, it works. They've always had... editorial has always had a very, very good idea when it comes to matching up artists, because that's quite a churn to do week after week after week after week. Anyway, especially if you're as slow as Brian Boland is, bless him. But anyway, So it's published in the United Kingdom, and they have been selling it in the United States for several decades now. But when you buy them in the US, up until last year, what you would get is a sealed plastic bag that would have a month's worth
that's right.
of issues in the plastic bag. Okay. Now, if you love the book, you don't care.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's kind of a difficult sell. Number one, you can't flick through it. It's in a bag. And number two, it's expensive because it's a UK import. So the first issue that I read was 18 pence, 1982. This is one of the last issues imported into the United States with a street date of May 2023, and it's £3.50 an issue. So you're looking at £14 a month. So one of these would clock into about somewhere between maybe $20 to $23.
Yeah.
So it's an expensive monthly to connect with.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've had the issue with Diamond Comics because they were the distributor for this in the United States. And late last year, everything just stopped.
Oh.
They pulled the plug.
Okay.
So with no warning, no noise, no nothing. So if you, like me, were getting these, all of a sudden you were cut off. That's a wonderful feeling. But the good news is that Rebellion, which is the company that the publishing house for 2000 AD, they have secured a deal with Luna, which is one of our comic distributors, to begin redistribution of 2000 AD in the United States. And for the first time, it's going to be put out weekly.
Oh, wow.
Because they're going to print it in the United States.
Oh.
Which is super smart.
Yeah.
Super, super smart. So there'll be a 2-week lag. So England will get the issue printed in the UK. 2 weeks later, we'll get the exact same issue. The only difference is the printing house will be in the United States. And by doing it that way, it can be sent to comic shops just like that as an open weekly that somebody could pick up, have a flick through. There you go. And the first issue, and not the first issue of the comic, but the first issue being sold in the United States under this new format, I think it's the second week of May. Rebellion also have a monthly. This also got stopped because of the whole Diamond thing. And this is also a selection of different stories, but it's all pretty much set in Judge Dredd or Dredd adjacent universe. So, if you like anthology comics, which is where we kind of started this, and you like science fiction, and you like adult science fiction, mature science fiction, you're not afraid of a bit of scare, bit of gore, bit of sex, bit of blood, what have you, give it a go.
Is it heady sci-fi or is it shoot 'em up sci-fi?
It's a mixed bag. It really is. It is an incredible mixed bag. It's very, very different.
And I'll broach, like, to me, Judge Dredd is more of a shoot 'em up sci-fi.
Yep.
But then the rest of the anthology stories can be, because I'm very aware.
Look at this artwork.
Oh, well, there's some beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. Well,
you and I our first bonding was over Warlord magazine.
Correct.
Pardon me, which was a British anthology. My first exposure to Across the Pond, because we had some anthology things over here.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But even we're specifically talking not superhero anthologies here, but there were, you remember Adventure Comics?
Yes.
All-Star Comics back in the day before, Just Society with other things. America has a small history of anthology through the 40s and 50s.
Yes.
Because it's the only way they could get all their stories out. Then they got, more singular characters. But, I really enjoyed.
We're going to bounce back to that thing you were just looking at in a second.
I really enjoyed the Smattering and Warrior, because I love, of course, Marvel Man, but Alex Press Button, V for Vendetta,
V for Vendetta.
all of those. And so I got used to those beats and formats.
That's right.
And that was a lot of fun. And then I got the Americanized 2000 AD, the 6 issues from Eagle,
Yes.
which was doing its best to try to simulate.
They were reprints.
There were some reprints, but they I think they cut them a different way. They edited
They
them.
tried to fit it what an American monthly would
Yeah, because
sort of
and
look
sometimes
like.
they were,
Curious about the distribution for these things.
Mhm.
Because UK's, I mean, it's much smaller than the US, the
Yes.
market, right?
No. Well, finish your point. Sorry.
I'm just wondering what the distribution can possibly be for a weekly sci-fi magazine.
Okay. So,
I guess since I've been doing it for so long.
well, here's the thing. England has a incredibly strong, healthy, and vibrant publication industry. You walk into, you still have newspaper shops over there.
Yeah.
You go in, and it's just rows of magazines and comic books on every topic you could possibly think of.
Huh.
So, in the 80s, there were comics, 2000 AD, science fiction, battle, war comics, Roy the Rovers, very popular weekly comic book about a soccer team.
Okay.
Just a soccer team. What the, comics for naughty schoolboys, comics for girls, comics for this, comics for that, sports comics, animal comics, you name it, you could find it. It's a really strange kind of just the setup. They still like their print media,
Yeah.
I'm sure it isn't as strong as it once was, but pretty damned healthy, I think.
Probably stronger than ours.
In some respects, yeah, I think so too.
I mean, we barely have newspapers anymore.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. If you go to Barnes and Noble and you see their magazine section,
Uh-huh.
that's probably about half the size
Yeah.
of an average British newspaper shop and what they have that you would find anywhere.
You know what was interesting? I went to the in the airport.
Mhm.
I went to the news, Hudson News.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
It's gotten to be so small. It's like, from here up. like,
Yes.
that is all they've
Oh, yeah,
got.
it's pitiful.
Magazines and
That's
stuff.
right.
And I just wanted to pick up something for the
Mm.
plane. I don't know why. I just did. I don't actually know why. I finished my DC Compact Edition book that I was carrying
Right.
around with me everywhere. So I left it on the plane. 'Cause
Nope.
I used to do that with on purpose.
pass it
Oh,
along.
on purpose. Oh,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
I used to do
yeah.
that with magazines. When I finish a magazine, I just leave it in the
just leave it.
thing for the plane.
That's right.
So I did that with my Compact Edition. I was like, give that to the next guy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Why not? But anyway, so I finished that, and I was just looking for something, crossword, whatever. It was so small. The selection was just they had like Time, People, Newsweek.
Yeah, it's very
it.
narrow. But then if you're at Heathrow Airport and you're going the other way and you go into there's still a W.H. Smith's book and magazine shop. They've got a lot of magazines in there.
Okay.
It's very different. One of the things that, and we were just talking about this in regards to the Twilight Zone. It reminds me of. Now, I'm probably going to misquote this, but I'm close enough. I think it was an interview that I read with, I think it was Stephen King. And he was talking about how impressed he was with this new young British author named Clive Barker.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, back in the early 80s, who had just published 6 volumes of Books of Blood. And they were little short stories, little horror short stories. Now, Stephen King is no slouch when it comes to the horror short story.
Yeah.
Okay. But he was talking about how it's harder. It's, in many, many respects, it's harder to write a good short story than it is a full-length novel. Because a full-length novel, you've got all the time in the world to kind of get your ideas out and all this kind of stuff. Short story, you've got to, again, it's that Twilight Zone thing, you've got to get it. You can't, especially now with decompressed storytelling, you can't, how many TV shows have you watched where basically the unspoken message is, give us like 3 or 4 episodes and then
Yeah.
decide, because we're not really going to get into the meat and potatoes of this until probably about episode 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
But that's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Right. So if you think about this, all other media, TikTok is you got to capture someone's
boom.
attention
That's right.
immediately. So
Yes.
all the, we tinker with our TikToks and our shorts and things. You got to capture somebody's attention the first second.
That's right.
Whatever you do in that first second, people decide if they're going to flick up or not.
Yeah.
And it's just shocking.
That's right.
So if you're in 1 second to catch somebody's attention, when you're exactly right about the Netflix culture at the same time.
Yeah.
So you've got this super short attention span, but the next Netflix culture is you're going to watch this movie that is an 8 or 12 episode
Correct.
TV series.
That's right.
But it's one movie.
Yeah.
Right. So it's so strange. And podcasts are 3 hours long.
Right.
Right. So I think it's like half the podcasts I listen to are like 2-3 hour monsters.
It kind of feels like there's 2 different kinds of, a consumer out there, and can each one be appropriate for both? Like, how do you know? I mean, especially Netflix is a really good example because they'll have that 8 to 12 length series, and they'll throw the whole thing up at once.
Yeah.
Whereas you have somebody like Disney Plus, it's like, no, you're going to savor this. We'll give you one a week.
Yeah.
But again, like, I'm thinking of one of the Marvel shows that was on Disney Plus really didn't get into the groove until like the 3rd or 4th episode.
Oh, which one was that?
I'm trying to remember.
I gave up after Echo. I made it 2 episodes. I quit.
Echo.
I didn't even make it through the first episode of Secret Invasion.
Oh, I couldn't get past the first episode of Secret Invasion. I was just like, no, I'm not doing this.
Well, in that whole series, I mean, I know we're not here to talk about Secret. That was just a badly done. I so disappointed.
Yeah.
That.
What a waste.
Well,
oh, yeah.
I didn't care about Secret.
Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, I wanted my Nick. I wanted my Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Series.
Yeah.
And you gave me so don't get. Yeah, I'm being really quiet because I'm listening to both y'all because it is fascinating. My granddaughters who are 13 and 14 watch TikTok, and then, it is, if it doesn't seem like that, they're moving on, but yet they will sit there and watch Vampire Diaries.
Right. Okay.
And it whole, hour long, they'll lock in and they'll want to,
that.
but just talking about like the information, but it's, if I was having to build a marketing plan, I would have to hire a consultant to tell me,
right.
Cause I don't know how to I don't have the skill set to grab the attention of, I mean,
some people have an instinct for it.
It's
really interesting.
It's a language only a few people speak.
My youngest is incredibly good at figuring out the zeitgeist of the algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll start up brand new accounts. Like, her job is to make TikToks for other people.
Right.
So she'll start up a brand new account on TikTok, and she'll have a 1 million view video in the first month.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So somehow she's figured out how to trip the algorithm.
She knows how to talk that language.
It is. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it is something that she inherently knows. I don't even know how she knows it, but it just, I don't know how to do it either.
I'm going to swing it the other way because you said something. You were looking at that magazine and said you wanted to come back to
something.
Because I saw some of the art. Because at first I was like, is that Alan Davis in there? But I know now it's probably not.
There's a Garth Ennis story in here. That's what caught my eye.
So there were 2 things that I wanted to talk about when it comes to this 2000 AD and by proxy, by association, what have you, what Rebellion, the publishing house, has done with Battle Action. So 2000 AD is not the first work, but I think for many of the people on this list, you could say it's the first sort of significant professional work. Okay. Alan Moore, Alan Davis, Garth Ennis, Grant Morrison, Dan Abnett, Simon Bisley, Brian Bolland, Dave Gibbons, Kevin O'Neill. It's a long list of luminaries. Peter Milligan, who this is kind of where they got their start.
Huh.
So it's always good to watch the creator names that come out of 2000 AD, because if they're good, you're probably going to see them on a DC comic, because DC watches 2000 AD like a hawk, and they have done for 40 years.
That's interesting.
They mind a lot.
They've taken a lot of those. Alan Moore. I mean, it was his work on 2000 AD that caught the attention of Karen Berger. Same with Grant Morrison, same with Neil Gaiman, same with Garth Ennis, same with Peter Milligan. I mean, it's just like, this is it.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But yeah, one of the things that they, in this Judge Dredd magazine, I should say, okay.
I don't know what the difference is. You said magazine twice. It sounds the same.
It's magazine.
Magazine.
Yeah, Mega City One. That's where Judge Dredd. Okay. If you only know of Judge Dredd from the Sylvester Stallone movie,
Turn the video off.
just try and put that out of your head. Don't. No.
We're Carl Irvin.
Was Sandra Bullock in that one?
That's
No, that was Demolition Man.
That was
I
pre-Judge.
wish that was the Judge Dredd
Yeah, that
movie.
was. Well,
That
actually,
at
for
least
a
that
long
was
time in my
entertaining.
mind, that was the Judge Dredd film until the. Where are the
So-
three shells?
Battle Action. So Battle was a weekly war comic. Action was, we could do a whole show on Action. It was a comic book to appeal to young boys, as violent as possible. And that's basically why it got canceled. Rebellion just put out a gorgeous, it's pricey, a gorgeous hardcover collecting the first 12 issues. This was in the mid-1970s. And you flick through it and you really get a sense of, oh no, I know why this comic got banned. Yeah. So, but in the war comic Battle, Garth Ennis is, he's got a great love of war comics. He's written some of his own for Avatar and DC, sometimes deadly serious, like just the war stories series he did for Avatar, sometimes humorous, like Adventures in the Rifle Brigade that he did for DC Vertigo, which was kind of funny in that Garth Ennis sort of way. Garth Ennis loves Battle, so a couple of years ago, he has led the charge, to bring back, in short bursts, like 6 issues of Battle, and then they'll do another 6 issues, another 6 issues. And one of the artists is a gentleman by the name of Keith Burns, and he's an original Battle artist, so he's getting up there. Nobody draws military hardware like Keith Burns.
The artwork in that is just incredible.
That is, the line work on that is just phenomenal.
If you're on YouTube, you actually get to see it.
Yeah.
If you're not, then
Look up, Google Keith Burns Battle. HMS Nightshade, I think, is one of the stories that he drew. And it's just gorgeous.
why don't we get him on a Captain America book? The Captain America art is always terrible, but that dude on a Captain America book.
Well, it's
I say always terrible. It was great for a small window.
it's had its moments. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But this is, I grew up in England in the late 70s, early 80s, and war culture was still very much a part of the
Entertainment landscape.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, trust England to take the experience of having the absolute crap bombed out of it for several years,
Yeah.
and kind of turn that into, we can make some entertainment out of this. You know?
Sure. Well, their war toys stayed on the shelf a lot longer
Absolutely.
than they did over
Yeah,
here
that's right.
because our GI Joes, went from big down to it still was more fantasy war,
Yeah.
Cobra and all of that. And
Yeah.
your Action Man, we talked about this the
Yeah,
last time.
that's right.
Action Man, all
Well,
of that.
for us, Space Race took over.
Well,
We had Cowboys also.
But in the 80s, we'd already done the Space Race.
Yeah.
They still had the larger Action Man with the
That's
different
right.
uniforms.
That's
and stuff. But when we were doing the GI Joe, Larry Hama stuff,
Yeah.
they still were very up until about 80.
Oh, I want to say
it was
around about the mid 80s
yeah,
is where it started to pull
thinning
away.
out. When Margaret Thatcher may have changed the
I don't
culture.
know.
We're not going to get into the
I don't know,
policy, but it was right that time
Yeah.
where where your Action Man became more fantasy.
They did go down that road.
They had more. They did have a space outfit thing, but they really changed. They kind of came on the tail end of the G.I. Joe and the Big Jim, who became those Jack Kirby action. I know toys. I don't know any of that, but the Action Man stuff started mimicking science fiction. Star Wars probably had a bigger effect, but yes, you're right. The war culture, because that makes it sound like you don't want to fight.
I know.
But
it's not what it is. It has to do with, I think, personal impact. And,
y'all were much closer to the.
Well, we were.
I can't go in the backyard here and fight a undetonated bomb from 1943.
No, that's very true.
Your mother probably still could.
So. Well, I was just looking at somebody the other day about my mum, because my mum, don't get onto the subject of the Germans with my mum, because there is a little bit there, just a little bit, a little
edge there.
Yeah, but that comes from, she was born in 1943, and just before she was born, where she lived in Brentford in London, 2 doors down from her house, caught a bomb, one of a Jerry special, and took the house and everybody who lived in it out. So that there, but for the grace of winds blowing maybe a little to the left or maybe a little to the right, I might not be here. So when you go through that experience, you wake up in the morning and you go out and you start clearing the rubble of your neighbors.
Yeah.
That changes your viewpoint considerably on the effect, the personal, upfront, close, and personal relationship that you have with the concept of war.
Well, I always find it astounding that we are one generation away. There's that generation is still alive. They're still living. That was active in that war.
Yeah.
Some, not as many as there used to be.
Not as many as there used to be.
But I knew my grandfather was World War II, right? So I heard his stories. So still in my generation, we have the firsthand accounts that we grew up with. We're pretty good with the Germans. Like, we're completely like,
oh yeah, no,
they're like, it's just part of like, no,
oh, yeah.
I think you can run the EU.
No,
sure.
No, I think, well, but it just has to do, I think, with the intimacy of it, and that held the attention and the imagination, I think, of the British public. War movies, war TV series, war comedies. England has this amazing history of war comedies. Dad's Army, It Ain't Half Hot Mum, which I'm happy to explain to you off air if you would like.
That's another.
You're reminiscing about things that we have no clue.
I know. But they might encourage you to do a little bit of a YouTube dive so you can see what I'm talking about. How many episodes of Doctor Who had a war bent to it? You know,
Winston Churchill showed up quite a bit. Doctor Who.
There you go. That's right. So, anyway, they are Rebellion as a publisher. They are behind. They do an annual every year. And it's the Great British Treasury of Comics, where they will reprint comic strips from very different and divergent locations into an annual. So you'll get a story from one of those horror girls comics of the 70s. Okay. You'll get a war comic. You'll get a science fiction comic from the early 60s. It's a strange mixed bag, but bravo to them, because what they're doing is they're reminding the world that England's comics, they're very different, they're very unique. When they're humorous, they tend to be very darkly humored. Yeah. And they tend to serve the story more than they serve characters. I'll give you one example, because these battle action runs that Garth Ennis has been shepherding, Rebellion has reprinted them in these very lovely hardcovers. So you can get each season. I think they've got 3 seasons now. And one of the stories, and they've had new stories of these old battle action characters. And I think it's Robbie Morrison does one. and the character is called D-Day Dawson. And it was as a strip, it ran, I think, in 2 or 3 sections over the course of maybe like 8 years, maybe 9 years, maybe not that long. And the premise of the story is that Sergeant Dawson was among the expeditionary force that landed at Normandy for D-Day. He got shot in the chest. He's got a bullet in his chest that is very, very close to his heart. And as time is going on, it's getting closer and closer and closer to his heart. They can't operate. It will kill him.
Know exactly what he should do.
So, well, hold on. So he's fighting the war. And he has these stories, and he's very resourceful. He's almost got kind of a MacGyver element to it. And Robbie Morrison, it's a brilliant sight gag. D-Day Dawson, he's in a French village. The Germans are looking for him. He runs into a cottage to hide. He doesn't have his Enfield rifle. What's he going to do? He gets a milk jug, pops out a grenade, pops out the pin, carefully lays the grenade in the milk jug, and props it over a slightly ajar door, much like the old water bucket trick.
Yeah.
Only in this case, when the Germans kick the door open, the milk jug shatters, and pop. The last episode of that story, he dies. You got to see D-Day Dawson die. He dies. You knew it was coming, and that's how it ended, and that was it. That's a very British thing to do.
There's no Iron Man chess piece. I know.
There's no like, people love
Go into
this
a
character.
cave,
We're going to keep going.
Get a battery and a magnet.
Exactly. King, cling.
Yeah.
But that's a very British thing. It's like, no, let it serve the story. If the character's got to die to make that story work, fine. And there you go. Anyway, I could gush. Clearly, I'm a fan.
No, I mean, when I've dipped my toes into these, I've enjoyed them.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate though, sometimes in the delay, like when Eagle Comics was doing it,
Right.
It started, stop. And I'm a very closet Judge Dredd fan. I mean, once again, I'll still remember when those criminals thought they got away from Dredd, but they forgot to pay the oxygen bill. They sucked all the oxygen out. And no one wants to mess with the oxygen board.
We had Sylvester Stallone as Judge Dredd, and we had Carl Urban as Dredd, which was a very good movie.
Yeah, that was it.
And although they shot it and finished shooting it, 2024, and it was supposed to come out last year, but it still hasn't come out yet. Rogue Trooper, Duncan Jones has done Duncan Jones has done a Rogue Trooper movie. If you go on the internet, you can see a couple of stills, a lot of motion capture, a lot of blue screen, but the world of Rogue Trooper is this planet that is in perpetual war with itself, the Norts versus the Southers.
Uh-huh.
And so they've been at war for decades. They've been fighting so long, nobody remembers why they're fighting in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's all been on this planet, New Earth. And New Earth is now just toxic, acid. It's a hellscape. It's an absolute hellscape.
Didn't they learn anything from the old Earth?
No.
Okay.
No, that's kind of the point, is that humans never learn.
Yeah.
And
Garth Ennis writes
we
it.
don't. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Garth Ennis is a huge Rogue Trooper fan.
Yeah.
And so there you go. That's gushing aside. But if you're in the mood to try something a little different,
Come in and do it. We've got
I think second week of May,
2080?
you can grab just one issue. I don't know what it's £3.50. I don't know what that's.
or something. It's a change.
It's probably
I
gonna be
bet
like
it'll
four.
be a $3.99 book.
It's going to be about this. Yeah, I wonder if they'll put the dollar. I bet you they'll print the dollar.
Yeah, because they print it here.
They print it
It'll
here.
be a $3.99
Of
book.
course they will. Yes, it's a weekly. We like our
my
monthlies
guess.
in America. Weeklies traditionally do not do well in the United States.
Oh, we've done okay.
But I think this one might just scroll through
They-
because it's cool.
every once in a while we'll get a fun weekly thing.
Yeah.
but the traction doesn't hold like it does over there. I mean,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I'm conscious.
52.
Well, then that went for 52. That went for a year.
Also an anthology series.
Yeah, to a certain degree.
52.
Yeah.
Because
That's
it had that group, all the different stories.
Yep.
You would get different pieces each week.
But I'm cautiously optimistic that this would, because I've always wanted this to kind of grab over.
I
here,
do too.
But I also understand sometimes why it doesn't.
Yes.
But in a time of, hey, come in and discover something new, especially if what week is it? Is it the
I
week?
think it's the second week. Yeah, they,
I mean,
unfortunately they couldn't make it for free comic
yeah,
book
too bad
day.
it's not free comic book day. That'd be a great time to
It
come
really
and get free
would.
stuff and see something up on the wall, because there's always a 2000 AD free comic book.
There is.
There's
Yes,
always,
there is.
And you don't see a lot of follow-up sometimes.
No, you don't.
I
I think we moved the Judge Dredd section, didn't we?
We've moved it.
Yeah, it's tucked in. Yeah, it
that's
just
big.
did. I was the only one buying it. And I have a lot of it.
I think we ended up with all the stuff because it was a John pick for a while. John got into Judge Dredd for a hot minute.
Yeah.
But John knew that I was right there with him.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, he did not stand alone on that particular hill of death. But
This is probably a story in Judge Dredd. The Hill of
probably so. But it's. I tell you one other thing that just occurred to me looking at this cover for this story they did called Far Out, or The Out. One of the things that they were very good about encouraging stories to appeal to different people. So they're not looking for that one Marvel zombie type person. They're looking for somebody. There could be an issue where maybe 2 out of the 5 stories, I didn't care for that too much. I didn't care for that. But it's only going to be a few weeks, and then you'll get something different. You'll get something new. So it encourages you to kind of stick in there. And maybe it doesn't land with you upon first reading. You come back to it a year later like, oh, this is fantastic. I've had that experience with 2000 AD stories like, this is garbage. And then, actually, this is pretty cool. Alan Moore and the late, great Ian Gibson had a series called The Ballad of Halo Jones. And Rebellion published a very lovely, gorgeous, because it's black and white comics, but they colorized it, but they did a very, very loving job on it. There's a hardcover, you can still order it. And that is considered like one of the first sort of good feminist type female characters that anybody can relate to. And it's Alan Moore.
Yeah. Who's now offering his master classes on his own platform.
Absolutely.
The writer.
It's not his own plot. It's the BBC master.
Yeah.
But he's like one of the first. He put some money into it. Apparently, I was reading it.
He put money into the BBC master.
He is.
Wow.
He is some kind of.
Was he upset that Neil Gaiman did the actual masterclass one?
I don't mean.
I wouldn't.
We wouldn't.
Yeah.
He's okay now.
Well, Alan Moore's
Neil Gaiman?
No, Alan Moore's not okay with Neil Gaiman, but Neil
I don't
Gaiman.
think a lot of people are okay.
Well,
But I thought he came out of that. Okay.
He's turned the corner where somebody just came out and said they've proven in court he got exonerated on one of the charges where the girl wasn't telling you. There's something that's happened.
Oh, okay.
Like basically, he's into some weird stuff, but everybody else was.
Yeah, I mean,
was good with it.
there's been some. I'll have to before I say it on. I don't want to get on record, but yes, there's been a turn where he wrote a nice little thing saying, "I'm really appreciative of this British reporter who dug into the story and did this, that, and the other." And he's not back yet, but it's kind of what Jay said. It was kind of like he's a freak. But everyone, and you're like,
he's like in Johnny Depp territory.
It was
Johnny
very
Depp
much,
territory.
It was very much like she was of age. There was a lot. I'm not going to get us in sued again because twice in 1 year is enough.
But the Johnny Depp thing is, listen, everybody behaved real badly. She definitely misbehaved. He did too.
Yeah, they're both crazy.
Bye, Jordan.
Well, bye, Jordan.